The new Scarlett Johansson movie. Is there anything that she'll do that I won't see? Probably not. God, I wish this was rated R. Ghost in the Shell is a science fiction crime drama based on the manga of the same name. The story itself may be based on the original manga by Masamune Shirow, but it is not the first film adaptation. That title belongs to the 1995 animated movie. In this live-action adaptation, Scarlett Johansson plays the Major, a field commander for the Cyborg Counter-Cyber-Terrorist Unit. Yeah, try and say that 5 times fast. She is also a cyborg who is determined to understand the purpose of her existence. She and her task force, Section 9, thwart and contain cyber attacks in the futuristic city called Newport City, where nearly every human being has been technologically enhanced. The world has become interconnected, and humans can join this electronic network by the use of cybernetic bodies, or shells, which in turn possess their conscious, or their ghost. In this futuristic society, the line between humanity and technology is blurred, nearly impossible to see or define. Now, the casting of Scarlett Johansson as the Major has been controversial, to say the least, but in the context of the story, it does make sense, and I really enjoyed her performance. She plays the Major with a fierce determination. The arrests, the assassinations, solving the cases assigned to her unit, all of it is just business. It's what she was made to do. The personal moments away from Section 9 are for self-reflection. The memories of her past are unclear. She is looking into a clouded mirror. She is told that her life was saved after she and her parents were attacked by terrorists. Her parents died in the attack, but her brain was saved, preserved, and placed in a cybernetic body, making her a living, functioning cyborg, the first of her kind, and the future of human evolution. At least this is what she is told. Now, Section 9 has been condensed to faceless backup soldiers, with certain characters taking on multiple characteristics of the original characters, but the emotional relationship between the Major and Bateau is still there. It's important that they kept this in the film. It's a personal and platonic relationship. Bateau cares for the Major as a comrade and a friend. He is really trying to understand what this character is going through as a cyborg who is 99% artificial, but living with a human brain. He is one of the 2 human beings that the Major actually trusts. The other is Dr. Quillette, a scientist who works for Hanka Robotics, the company that created the Major's body. Now, Dr. Quillette is the scientist who designed the Major's body. So for the Major and the Doctor, it's a mother and daughter relationship that we don't get in the original film. It's one of the welcomed additions to the story because it provides new insight into the human beings living in this brave new world. The pace is never dull or boring. The action is riveting. The story can feel hollow and artificial at times. It's hard to connect with it on an emotional level, but I'm also weighing it on an unfair scale. It's impossible not to compare it to its predecessor, and even in the shadow of greatness, I would give it an 8 out of 10. Now, going back 22 years, the 1995 animated Ghost in the Shell is a philosophical mindfuck. It's dealing with theories of duality, sexuality, both personal and gender identity. It's an examination of the relationship between the mind and the body, the ghost and the shell. Can a cyborg possess a soul if he's made of metal instead of flesh and bones? This is the question that the Major is pondering to herself throughout the film. It's dark and poetic, and it's really fucking confusing, man. Go online, read forums, try to understand it, because I don't. And while its 2017 counterpart is a very fun and actually a really good movie, it's basically a futuristic Jason Bourne. That's really what it is. The pieces are there. Some of the shots are taken directly from the 1995 animated film. The bigger picture has changed, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the fan service. To me, you just can't beat hand-drawn animation when it's done this well, but the visuals for this film are impressive. The world feels worn out and lived in, complete with sights and sounds and the smells of a big city, I can assume. It looks disgusting, but, you know, it's got that New York, Tokyo feel. You ever been to New York City? It's fucking gross, but it's amazing. Now, some of the film's original philosophy finds its way into the updated Ghost in the Shell, focuses more on identity and destiny, free will, the power to make your own decisions. It doesn't dive as deep as its predecessor. It's not really trying to show you how far this rabbit hole goes. The 1995 version is a great movie. Really, it's a masterpiece, animated or not, and you would think that if the blueprint was laid out for a film and it was proven to be flawless, a studio would do their best to build on it rather than dumb it down. The original Ghost in the Shell only runs for about an hour and 20 minutes, so you have a lot to add to this story, but the core is there. The core story is there, and really, it's perfect. Hollywood did not need to dumb down this story. I would argue that ambition sells more than special effects and cool fighting scenes. You can have your PG-13 movie, and you can shoot for $800, $900, $1 billion at the box office, but if this movie is splitting critics and fans down the middle, it's not going to make that money. But if you have the R rating, and you have a more faithful adaptation to the original story, we're talking about one of the greatest science fiction films ever made, because this is the live-action adaptation. This is an international audience with an international superstar leading this movie, backed by an American studio, $100 million budget. If this is great, eyeballs around the world are going to see it. Instead, it's a movie that may launch a franchise and may give Scarlett Johansson more time between making that Black Widow movie when she's like 52, so